The theme of the stands at Frieze, Time Machine, is extraordinarily relevant to my work because all of the paintings and drawings and sculptures that I make are based on other artists in some way, and they can range from the 16th century right the way through to the 20th century and the 21st century. So my work is an amalgamation of art history in many ways. On the stand at Frieze will be representations of other artists' work as well from my collection. For instance, Abraham Blumart, Gaetano Gandolfi, Giambattista Tiepolo and Austin Osman Spare, who are all artists which have been very influential to me in terms of subject and mark making. It does rather fascinate me that certain methods of working and styles exist throughout the centuries, and that seems to be because there's something innate about this fluid mannerist style of mark making which feels very natural to me as well. The paintings that I make exist very much in a drawn form on the painting as well, and line and mark making is very important. The way that the line represents a trace of the arm and the hand and the human body is very important. It almost records the musculature of my particular arm movement as it sort of traces its way across the surface of the panel it's painted on. And that's very individual to each artist. But having said that, you can act as an artist. So sometimes I will act in the style of Tiepolo, or I will act in the style of Gaetano Gandolfi. And that's when I feel the most enjoyable part of being an artist, because you almost forget yourself and you become part of art history whilst being very much in the present day. And that's my perfect place in many ways, being stuck in this time machine in my studio, surrounded by all my books and other artists' references. In a similar way that I use other artists' work, it's interesting to take a frame and use that as a starting point. Frames for particular periods and particular places have a particular style to them. They have a sense of movement, they have a sense of sculptural form. Sometimes they have a great sense of humour to them as well. And I bring aspects of that to influence the work. The starting point for some of my sculptures are other artists' sculptures, in this case Italian 19th century marble sculpture of a child. And the child is standing next to a tree stump, and I've elongated the tree stump using oil paint to build the forms up of this imaginary tree, and it envelops the child and takes over. It exists in this space, hopefully, between the awkward and the inelegant and the sort of beautiful and tasty and delicate. I started collecting work because it was going to be a direct influence on my own work, and I realized that having the actual work itself, rather than just an image of it, told me things that I couldn't get otherwise. The precise relationship between two or three colours in a photograph isn't as beautiful and gorgeous and as influential to me as it is when you have the actual work. We opened the Brown collection in Marylebone in London 3 years ago, and have continued to make shows there that combine my work with the collection and hopefully show the way that artists talk to each other through the centuries. The stand at Frieze becomes part studio, part home, part Brown collection, part museum. So the studio, home and the collection and the Frieze at Booth now become the same thing. They're the place I want to live, and they're a place for debate and communication and puzzlement and revelation, I hope, in the end.